Hello, everybody. Welcome to the full moon angel messages overall energy update. Right now, we are going to be talking about 3 things to know about this full moon. Plus, we will, of course, do your angel messages and energy update. We will do all 12 signs and your bonus messages at the end. Make sure you listen to all 12 signs because you are not just your sun, moon, and rising. You have all 12 houses in your chart. And I will be bringing up different things that are affecting you in those houses as we go. When we get to all 12 signs, I'll also mention what house it's in for you so that you can, from a solar chart perspective, think about those things. So we will get into that. And if you are here listening live or later, I'd love to hear where you're tuning in from. Let me know how you're doing. Are you already feeling this full moon energy? So right now we are talking about 3 things to know about the energy of the full moon in Sagittarius. This full moon is happening Wednesday, June 11th. So I am doing this live about a week early so that you have time to navigate this powerful full moon energy. You will begin feeling it before we actually get to the apex of the full moon, which is happening very early in the morning on June 11th. For Central Time, I want to say it's like 2 a.m., somewhere around there. I don't have it at the top of my head. But we will do all signs messages about this, but I want you to know these 3 things. So 3 things to know about this full moon. First, it's important to understand that this full moon is in Sagittarius, which is ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius. However, just a few days earlier than this apex, so June 9th, Jupiter will have moved into Cancer. Who rules the Cancer? The moon. So we have the moon that is having its full illumination, and we have Jupiter in its sign of Cancer because moon rules Cancer and Jupiter rules Sagittarius, which is the sun in Gemini opposing the moon in Sagittarius. So really, really interesting energy here. Cancer rules the 4th house of home, family, real estate, the mother, emotional security. Jupiter and Sagittarius rule the 9th house, which is foreign travel, spiritual beliefs, spiritual teachings, becoming a spiritual teacher, right? Higher learning. So there's so much happening here. It's going to really open our eyes to some new directions that we want to head with this full moon. So my question for you, and I encourage you to grab your journal and write this prompt down if you get a chance. You can do it now. You can do it leading up to the full moon. You can ask yourself this during the full moon. Where do you feel at home? Okay, because when I talk about the 4th house, it's not just your physical home. It's where you feel at home. You feel at home with a certain group of people. You feel at home in a certain location. So some of you may find that you're going to realize you don't feel at home somewhere. It may be in a job. It may be in a location and you want to move to a different location. But we're going to be asked to take our time figuring this out. So that's my first prompt for you there is, where do you feel at home? The next thing I want you to think about is, what was going on for you the last time Jupiter was in Cancer? Jupiter was in Cancer the last time between June of 2013 and 2014. So what was going on for you around those topics of home, family, mothers, like I said, emotional security, real estate? One interesting thing for me was I was actually in the process of, I had just recently sold a house. I was living in a rental house and I was building a new house. So during that transit, I actually built and moved into a new house. So it's really, really on the mark there that I'm not only in my Cancer sun sign, but Jupiter was in my 4th house of home and family. So we moved my whole family, right? And we actually moved closer to my mother. So lots of themes there. And I'm giving you that as an example because it's different for all of us, but I want you to think about that. You also going to want to think about where Sagittarius is in your chart as well, because that's playing such a big part for you. So there will likely be expansion and revelations in these areas, and they are leading up to this full moon and several days after. The second thing I want you to keep in mind with this full moon is that it's also in a square with Neptune and Saturn in Aries. So we want to be very cautious about not getting caught up in illusions or swept off our feet by our emotions. There's going to be a lot of emotional, watery energy here. And so we're going to want to try to focus on being optimistic. And this energy is, we're going to want to feel adventurous, right? That's what Jupiter does. Jupiter helps us feel that expansion and that adventure. And so go ahead and do some daydreaming about where you want to head, especially regarding your home, family, and work, but allow some time, right? Saturn, time before committing to major changes. Take your time, plan your moves down to the detail, and do it in a practical way, right? Let's say you do realize you want to leave your job or you want to leave your neighborhood. It's still, you want to slow down and keep in mind that Saturn that's asking you to take your time, and Neptune can provide an illusion there. So you might at first think, hey, I want to move across the world. But when you sit down and you really look at the details, your ideal place is only an hour away. Speaking of which, you might want to check out your astrocartography on that as well. I've been studying mine deeply lately, and it's been really fascinating following it. So the third thing I want you to keep in mind before we get into your angel messages and overall energy here, the third thing is Mercury will also be in Cancer by this point. So having had a conjunction with Jupiter before they moved in, on June 8th, Jupiter and Cancer will conjunct. Jupiter will still be in Gemini. Mercury will still be in Gemini, the sign it rules, but then they will both move into Cancer after that conjunction. So you might see there are some repercussions from this communication. This is more coming from my guides, but also just knowing that Mercury is the planet of communication and Jupiter expands things. There might be some communication that happens around the conjunction on June 8th, but you don't see the emotional upheaval of it until this full moon, because the full moon brings these emotions to the surface. Kind of like when somebody smarts off and says something in a tactless way, and it takes a few days for you to process their words. It's almost like a slow burn, right? And finally you get angry and you say something about it. It erupts, right? So this goes both ways. It could be something you say around this Jupiter-Mercury conjunction on June 8th in Gemini. Then if you find out on the full moon or around this full moon that somebody else is overreacting to it or saying, hey, I really didn't like the way you said that to me or whatever. So full moons do bring things to the surface, and Jupiter is expanding everybody's emotions by both ruling the full moon and being in Cancer. So for the first time since 2014, we're going to see a shift that we haven't seen in a while. And there's different planets. There's different things going on. We didn't have Neptune and Saturn in Aries squaring Cancer, right? So that's one of the reasons why we just want to take our time. We don't want to get caught up in illusions, because Sagittarius and Jupiter, they're going to want us, we're going to just dream big. We're going to want things, it's the kind of thing where you do think that you're time to just do a whole remodel on your house, but you have to really slow down and look at the details. So I invite you to think back again about that time, do some journaling around this part of your life, and what things helped you feel emotionally secure back at that time, and what things had to go. Were there things in your life between 2013 and 2014 that were too disruptive in your home and you had to let them go? So I'd love to hear in the comments if anything's resonating with you about that time, and if you're seeing those themes play out. I'm seeing things in my fourth house play out. It's in a different way, but it's also similar, right? So it's really important to keep track of that. Make sure you're writing down anything that resonates with you as we go through all these 12 signs. And I'm going to jump in here and say hello in the chat. So please let me know how you guys are doing. And we are definitely going to get started with this Celtic cross here. So who do we have in the chat ready to hear about the energy for all 12 signs here? I'm just pulling over to And I will be doing the timestamps at some point. I'll put up the scenes. Hey, Blondie, good to see you there. Good morning, Kim Priestess. Are you excited about Jupiter and your sun sign? I know I am. Linda, good morning. Hello, Casglow. Oh, thank you. I love the green. I know. I just felt inspired to wear green today. I don't have any purple, which I kind of think of when I think of Jupiter and Sag, but green works. You're a Sag moon, Kim. Okay, beautiful. Hello, Linda. I'm feeling it from my hometown in Vegas. All right, I bet. Hey, Hubert. Good to see you there. Devi, I love that. Hello, Anna. Sicilian Aphrodite's here. Janie, good afternoon from New NYC. I'm going to be up in your area this summer. Awesome. Not till later, but looking forward to it. Lai Ho, hello. Good to see you here. Deborah, hello from Connecticut. Good to see you. Hello, Leisha. Linda says, daydreaming 24/7. That's my favorite pastime. Hey, Heather. Hello. Yes, daydreaming. Heather, our resident Sag here. Are you ready for your full moon? What are you releasing here? I'm visiting my family, and so my whole hollow deck is in full play, says Linda. Nice. Hello, David. Good to see you here. Leisha says, yes, that's when marriage started falling apart. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but right, those things will transform the home, won't they? See, I mean, that's what happens, right? It's all of these things happening in the home. Yes, Kim. Kim's priestess says, yes, very excited. And Kaz Glow's a Sag moon too. All right. And so is Hubert. Well, we've got a lot of Sag residences here. David's in from Dave's in here. Sorry, here from Manchester. Great. And you're in Aqua. Wonderful. Yeah, keep letting us know what's going on with your signs. Like I said, we are going to do this overall energy here, and I will definitely be doing all 12 signs. So let's get started at the heart of our spread. Right now, what do we have for this full moon in Sagittarius? We have the 9 of water. You just can't make this stuff up. Your wishes come true, concerns fade away, a love of life. Well, what I love about this energy here is it's letting us know, first of all, we have Jupiter in Cancer, water, right? But then your dreams coming true, falling in love, that's Sagittarius, right? And Jupiter's expanding those things. So this is a super positive card for the heart of our spread. And what I want you to keep in mind is, what are you wishing for? What are you wishing for? Especially when we go through all 12 signs. But the angels and your spiritual team know you're wishing for something new. You're wishing to move in a new direction. If you didn't get a chance to catch the live I did last Wednesday with Chris Reck from Minnow Pond Tarot, we did the next 3 months. And one of the big things we were both getting is that all 12 signs will be changing their work somehow. They will either be taking a new approach to it. They will be pivoting the direction they're headed. Like, for example, maybe you've always focused on energy healing and now you're more focused on astrology. Or you may be leaving your career entirely. Like when I closed up my small business consulting practice, stopped doing all accounting work and went into full-time intuitive work, right? Totally, it may be a full change for you depending on where this is in the chart and what's going on for you. It could even be that you've always worked outside the home and now you're going to start working in the home, right? Maybe this is a wish you've always had because Jupiter in Cancer rules the 4th house of the home. So, and real estate. So changing where the location of your office is. So let me know in the comments if you've considered changing the way you work. All right, let's switch over to I went to the wrong screen there. Was I not on the camera there? Oh, I was. Okay. Sorry. I hit the wrong button. All right. You can see the crossing energy here now is the Ace of Earth. Let's see here. Ace of Earth. We have the inflow of abundance, a promising business adventure, important documents. All right, see, you can't make this stuff up either. There is something that we've been thinking about committing to. Maybe you are thinking about signing a contract, or you want to start a new business, or you want to sign a lease on an office space or a new home. Maybe you are about to purchase a home here, and maybe it's just felt a little challenging to get started with it. That's for all of us here, right? We all know that we had that challenging first half of the year with all those retrogrades, and you felt really like it's been a challenge to invest in this new direction. You know what it is maybe, or you've daydreamed about it, but you're not really sure where to invest next. So we're going to get plenty of guidance on that, but I love it when they validate the things that we're feeling so we know we're all in alignment here, right? So let's switch over to the subconscious energy here. This is what you may not be aware of is going on. We have another ace card here, Ace of Water, falling in love, the resurgence of a relationship, spiritual growth and enhanced intuition in a new home. Okay, so a lot of you are going to be finding a new home. It may be a new home where you feel at home with a group of people, like a social network, right? But really all of us don't even realize we're wanting this new home. So that's why I had that journal prompt. If you're tuning in late, at the very beginning of this video, I asked you, where do you feel most at home? And what is it that makes you feel at home? Because I know a lot of us have changed our social networking over the years. Like the people that we hung out with back in 2016 through 2018 are probably a lot different than they are now. And it's because you were moving away from an energy that you didn't feel emotionally secure. And what you may still not be aware of is there's still things that are not allowing you to feel emotionally secure in your work environment, your home environment, your relationships. Maybe even you're not even feeling secure in the work you want to do. And so you're needing to take it to the next level so you can gain that security. So we'll get a lot of guidance on this, but this is so validating. I really want you to think back about June 2013 to June 2014. You may not have seen major changes, but maybe you can remember the energy and realize, oh, I really didn't feel at home. My example would be the rental house that we lived in. There was a point in time where we considered just purchasing that house instead of building because we were running into all these issues with contractors and stuff. And when it came right down to it, it did not feel like our home. Like we didn't feel at home. There was just this stuck energy for us. It was nothing wrong with the home. It just didn't fit our energy. And I didn't really fully gather that until we moved away. So I had to use that gift of hindsight of looking back and going, I never really felt at home in that house. It was very nice, very safe neighborhood, lovely neighbors, but I didn't feel at home. So I want you to keep that in mind too, because what we have coming up in the recent past is this 5 of Earth card, which is really validating to the challenging energy here. Fears surrounding money, the wisdom to accept help from others, uncertain self-employment. So you've probably realized here that recently this has been what's holding you back from making this investment. So like I said, since we have the challenge energy of the Ace of Earth, it looks like you really have in the past just been stuck in this energy of where do I invest my time? Where do I invest my energy? I feel like a lot of you felt like you were investing in the right place and then things were revealed to you and you realize this is not a good use of my time and energy or a good use of my material resources. Or maybe you weren't really being honest with yourself about what you wanted to invest in. I know a lot of people, I'm a Capricorn rising, so I can say this about myself too, where you undervalue what your heart really wants. Maybe you say, oh, I don't really need that. I can do without. But your heart is like, but we can afford it and I want to do it. So I want you to keep that in mind too, because in the past, you really have kind of allowed yourself to feel trapped. But in this, the solution to this card is to look up for guidance, right? Ask your spiritual team for how do you remove yourself from this stuck energy. So let's move on to the present energy here to get some guidance, more clarification for this full moon. We have the 7 of Fire. It says, defend your beliefs and dreams, stand your ground, choose your battles wisely. So this is going to be for the current energy of the full moon. However, I want you to remember that you are watching these messages early, some of you here, for a reason. So you might see there is a place where you have to stand up for yourself between now and this full moon, or you may have to decide to just let something go, okay? Because we do have that Mercury-Jupiter conjunction on the 8th. And I just feel like even though that could be a positive thing, you might get some positive communication, it might just take a few days for it to sink in. Sometimes we get overly excited, or maybe we don't realize what a great opportunity something is for a few days. I know for me, I've had times where I thought I would never leave a town I was living in, and I was like, this is my home forever. I wouldn't even consider it. And 6 months later, I was putting the house on the market and moving to a new location. It took some time for me to realize, why am I fighting this, right? And I do think for a lot of you, you're going to realize you don't feel at home somewhere, and you're going to have to just sit with that energy for a little bit and be like, okay, what are my beliefs about this? Maybe you are letting a friend, a colleague, a spouse, somebody, a family member know about this change, and they're saying, you can't do that. You shouldn't do that. That's a bad decision. And you might want to really have to stand up for yourself. But it also could be that it's not worth arguing with them because this is not their journey, right? I don't know why this song is popping into my head, but have you heard that song by Miranda Lambert, This Ain't My Mama's Broken Heart? My 2 daughters and I were belting that song at the top of our lungs last week on a shopping trip because we've just always loved that song. It just cracks me up. If you've seen the video, it's hilarious. So my daughters love it when we can sing at the top of our lungs, and but that's popping up for me. This ain't my mama's broken heart. So you might have to really get clear with someone in your life, like this is not about you, right? You're doing what your heart wants. You're following what your heart believes. And since it is a Sagittarius full moon, which is all about your beliefs, it's that rules the ninth house, which is the belief system, right? Your heart knows what you believe, and you may have to really stand up for that. So anyways, let me know in the comments if you know that song. It's playing in my head for a reason, right? All right, let's switch over to the near future here. All right, coming up in the near future, we have the King of Fire card. It says motivational, idealistic, ambitious, charismatic, focus, communicate your vision. Boom, Sagittarius, Jupiter right there. And it says also advice from someone creative. Yeah, so it might be a good idea before you take action on these daydreams or these realizations that you get out there and you get some advice from somebody who's been through it. This could be like if you are going through a career change, asking a mentor. If you are going through a relationship change, talking to somebody you trust about it who maybe has been through something similar. If you are thinking about building a house or moving, can you talk to people who have been through that? I had a lot of amazing people show up in my life. I literally asked my spiritual team, help me make the right choices for building this house. If you've never done it before, there are so many things you would never think about to have to deal with. And all the right people showed up at the right time, and they would make comments and they would say things that would get my attention, like, oh, I don't want that for my house, or I do want this. So I feel like whatever this new direction you're heading in, there is somebody who has already mastered this area, or they've already done something similar, and you can get so much information from them. This is where I always remind you, go on YouTube, because there are so many people that have already, broken through some barrier that you may be considering breaking through. That's what Jupiter is also helping you do. And you can hear their experience, all those videos, like 10 things I'd wish I'd known before, blah, blah. I just came across a video the other day that caught my attention. And actually, it was a little bit like, I don't know if I want to watch this, but it was this guy works with a lot of people on their accounting and their estates that are in their 70s. And so he gets a lot of advice from people. And it was like 10 things these 70-year-olds wish they could have told their 50-year-old self. And honestly, a lot of them were the things we all talk about here on this channel about living for your heart and making sure you're having that work-life balance and you're paying attention to your relationships. So nothing really surprised me, but I can definitely see where the generation that is in their 70s and 80s right now didn't have the support for that, because that we were all taught, most of us that are in our late 30s and up were taught that, you go to school, you get a job, you work until you retire, and then you get to have fun, right? And a lot of these people that are in their 70s and 80s now are talking about the things that sometimes they did invest in things that they were told not to, and they're grateful they did, and other times they didn't feel like they deserved it. So I feel like just going online and listening to people who are older than you, who have been through it, is going to really be valuable for anything that you're thinking about changing. All right, so we're going to switch over to our personal power here in just a minute and do a pocket affirmation. But how's everybody doing with these current messages here? 1111 Casglow. Oh, and Andrea got it at 1111 too. Thanks for pointing that out. Oh, thank you, Casglow. I appreciate it. Leisha says she did change her work schedule and it's been wonderful. Casglow says that's one of my daughter's favorite songs. Casglow, I love that. I don't care for the country music. That song grew on me. Hey, Truth or Fears, good to see you there. I really don't listen to country music either, but I don't remember how I saw the video, and it's just adorable. Hello, Moonsprout. Good to see you there. All right, let's see what our personal power is here. Justice, Archangel Ragwell. Fair and just decisions. Do what you know is right. See, we're getting this again. Stand up for your beliefs. So they're just affirming what we have right here. It's the same idea. Right now, you are being asked to stand up for your beliefs. So starting from the time you're watching this video, during the full moon and the weeks after the full moon, where you may be releasing something. You may be saying, it's time for me to go ahead and put my 2 weeks notice in. It's time for me to go ahead and put my house on the market. It's time for me to go ahead and let that person know we aren't in alignment anymore. All right. So you've got to go to that higher level and do what you know is right. And that's honoring yourself. And I feel like this is that reminder of if you don't feel at home somewhere, it's most likely because somehow you are feeling like you have to dim your inner light. And your spiritual team, your angels never want you dimming your light. But if you are around people where you can't be your authentic self, that is a version of having to dim your life. If you're around a group of people where you can't say the things that you really believe, that is a version of having to dim your light. And this is letting you know, if you are in a situation where you have to dim your light, it's time to do what you know is right and fair for you. It's not fair for you to have to dim your light. And this world that we are in right now, the elevation that we're going through, all of you here who are light workers, you're watching this video because you are a light worker. It doesn't matter if you call yourself that one or not. You were called here for a reason. We are all working together to raise the collective consciousness to understand how valuable it is to shine your light. And we're not dimming our light for anybody, right? So let's do a pocket affirmation. I easily shine my light. If you want to write that in the comments section below, I easily shine my light. And when you're doing that journal prompt I gave you at the bottom, where do I feel at home? You're going to feel most at home where you do not have to do anything to dim your light. All right, let's see what's going on for our external factors here. We have the World card, Archangel Michael, a job well done, joy, contentment and gratitude, the path toward enlightenment. This is such an amazing card to get for this full moon, right? The world. We're expanding where we are in the world. We're following our heart, following our dreams. So even though this is coming up in the external factors, it's reminding you there's so much more in the world for you to explore. Since Sagittarius rules the 9th house of foreign travel, have you ever considered exploring another part of the world? You don't have to physically travel there. You can go watch videos. You can read about it. You can learn a new language. You can connect with a group of people on the other side of the world. Like, I know a lot of you here in our audience here, you're from New Zealand and Australia on the other side of the world, and I felt instant connection with all of you. Even though you're in a different hemisphere, you're going through different seasons, we feel connected across the world, right? Because we have the same mission. So I want you to take your gifts out into the world in a bigger way. And I want you to make sure you're doing things where you can really shine your light in the world. So let's move on to the hopes and fears here. And we'll get to all 12 signs. We have the ego card. This makes so much sense with the messages we're getting. It says a false sense of entrapment, being overly focused on material things, and negative or fear-based thoughts. All right, so this is two sides of the same coin. Is your ego holding you back from shining your light? It might not be somebody else. It's fear of judgment. Usually, it's ultimately coming down to our own fear of vulnerability, of what is somebody going to think about me? What is somebody going to say? What are your beliefs about that? Since this is, again, so much around beliefs and standing up for your beliefs, maybe it's your conditioning from a child where you were raised with a certain type of background that was a different type of religion or different type of spirituality. Maybe it was an agnostic background or atheistic, and you're like, no, I know what resonates with me, but I feel trapped by the way I was raised, and you're second guessing yourself. But there is something that we need to break through. And I feel like because this is in the hopes or fears select a portion of the overall energy, it's really going to be you constantly asking yourself, what am I really afraid of? And getting to the root of that. So that's your next journal prompt. What am I really afraid of? Go deeper with this Ace of Earth card being the challenge energy. You know, if you don't get really clear on the things that are holding you back, then it's really hard to find a way to navigate around those things, right? And Jupiter's going to help you. Jupiter's going to help you bust through these ego blocks, okay? So the first thing you got to do is acknowledge them. Don't be hard on yourself. Give yourself compassion. But knowing the things that scare you the most can then give you the opportunity to ask for the Jupiter in Cancer and this full moon to reveal these things to you and reveal solutions, because we're going to get a lot of solutions to that as well. And again, with Neptune in Aries, there could be a bit of illusion too around feeling trapped. Well, I can't leave my job for the next 10 years because of blah, 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 right? Is that really true? Things change. What if there's another way to leave your job and maybe you're leaving it in 5 years or 1 year? And I remember when I decided to leave my small business consulting practice, it did take time. It didn't happen overnight, but there were moments in time where I made a big change. I let go of certain clients that I was working on that were not working with my schedule. I started shifting the days that I worked. I did close down my external office and started working from the home. I started slowly moving in that direction, even though I didn't feel like I didn't know when I was going to be able to fully do that. But let's see what the final outcome is here so we can get to all 12 signs. Okay, we have the 8 of air here for this final outcome. Of course, we'll add to it here. It says an illusion of being trapped. Again, revealing that. A lack of self-confidence, afraid to take action. Yeah, so it's basically saying this ego here, and we need our ego, right? We need our ego to be able to identify when we're safe, when we're secure, what our surroundings are. We need our ego to understand where we're headed, how we're seen in the world. So even though this is in the hopes and fears, it's going to help you too. Didn't mean to switch the camera there. With this final outcome card of the 8 of air, it's really just needing to identify those fears. So basically these cards are saying the same thing. If you can take the time to allow those things to come to the surface between now and this full moon and a couple of days after, do a lot of journaling, do a lot of self-reflection. Think back about June 2013 to June 2014. What were your biggest fears then? Have they changed? It is interesting to think about those kinds of things because we grow through experiences, through relationship changes, through just time. We grow and we have different experiences. And I'd be willing to say that probably some of the things that you were afraid of back then don't seem as big of a deal, or maybe they revealed things to you that caused you to change your plans that was in your highest interest. So definitely something to keep in mind with this full moon. Now I want to switch over to doing all 12 signs because I feel so much energy coming in from this full moon, especially with all the things that are happening throughout this month. If you all have been paying attention to like the June astrology out there and everything, just so much going on in June that's going to shift things for us. Thank you all for putting that in the comments there. Love it. Yes, love it. Hubert's asking, what if we're in a situation that's hard to get out of to shine our light? Any split second advice, Hubert? Yeah, well, that's where I love that question. Thank you, Hubert. It really is the first thing you have to do is ask yourself, what got you into that situation in the first place, and ask your spiritual team, hey, what's a way out of this? Also, if you can practice energetic shielding and cord cutting while you're in that situation, that's going to be really helpful too. I would say, let's say, for split second advice, right, Hubert, you're standing in a line at the grocery store and everybody around you is, upset about something. They're arguing with each other or whatever. And you're like, I'm sitting here trying to be in divine flow. That's when I would call on my spiritual team to shield me. And then I would remove my get out of there as fast as I can, do my affirmations, cut cords, and say, I am in divine flow again. Get back into your flow. And then if it's something that's going to take a little longer to get out of, you start writing it in your journal and asking your team, help me see the way out of this. Help me see the way I feel trapped and it's an illusion. And so start asking for those signs and symbols. I love that question, Hubert. And honestly, we all could benefit from asking ourselves, where in my life do I feel trapped, right? And a lot of times that's an illusion, especially with Neptune and Saturn in Aries squaring this full moon. So hopefully that will be revealed to us. All right, we're going to pop over to the all 12 signs. And of course, we'll have your bonus messages. Linda says, being secure right here in the now via journalism and self-chat. AI buddy is helpful. Love it. Alrighty. So Aries, this full moon is happening in your 9th house. Well, this Sagittarius rules the 9th house. So you are really going to feel this full moon. We all are, right? But I want you to keep that in mind because the 9th house is foreign travel, higher education, spiritual teachings, becoming a spiritual teacher. All right, so keep those things in mind as we're going through this. You're so welcome, Hubert. Thank you for the great question. All right, for Aries, 6 of fire, success, recognition, self-esteem. All right, and of course, you've got your fire card here. Yeah, I love this for the Aries because I feel like what you're being asked to keep in mind is that you do have this opportunity to break free from something. So let's see what's coming up for the Sedona deck. Oh, I forgot to say, this is the, I jokingly call this my Shazam deck, but because it reminds me of that Shazam symbol. But it's actually the Guardian Angel Tarot deck by Radley Valentine. I love this deck. This is my deck I bought in Sedona, Arizona. I love it so much. And this is a unicorn deck by Doreen Virtue. All right, so the Sedona card says, what do we have here? Oh, I don't even know how to pronounce that. Coxcomb? And it says changes. Yep. So that following the 6 of fire card makes so much sense. Let's see what the unicorn says. Happy thoughts. Okay. So what you're being asked to do here, Aries, is to embrace the recognition for your gifts, really focus on where you're heading. We've all been asked to stand up for our beliefs and keep following the magic. And that's going to mean you've got to really watch your thoughts. Stay focused on happy, positive thoughts. And you are going to need to embrace some change. But if you stay positive about these changes, it's going to really bring you a lot of rewards. So like I said, and with this being in your 9th house, it may be changes in your belief system. It may be changes in the way you travel or the way you interact with higher education. You might decide to go back to school. You might find a new teacher. You might decide to become a spiritual teacher yourself, but you've got to focus on embracing the change and staying really positive with it. All right. I love that for the Aries. Moving on to the Tauruses here. Taurus, this full moon is happening in your 8th house of other people's resources, intimacy. It is the house of transformation, right? So something very transformative is coming for you with this full moon, Taurus. What do we have for this first card here? We have release. Yep, you're going to be letting go of something, and it literally says transformation. You cannot make this stuff up. There is some kind of ending coming for Tauruses here. Since it is other people's resources, I'm feeling like maybe you are watching people leave in your work environment. Maybe you're choosing to move away from some job that is no longer serving you. It could be you're letting go of clients. It could be that you're, just realizing that you can stand on your own in a different way. That's what I'm getting for a lot of you. So there's some kind of transformation coming on for Tauruses that I feel does actually involve your career in a lot of ways. But 8th house also rules inheritances, legacies. Legacies also 10th house, but meaning like if somebody passes things down to you, like you decide that somebody decides they're going to retire and they hand their business over to you, right? So that could be where the transformation comes to, is somebody is stepping down. You might have a boss stepping down or a colleague stepping down, and you're getting that opportunity now. But there is some kind of ending coming in for you, but that's with every full moon. So let's see what's coming up for the Sedona deck here. For the Sedona deck, we have the Quail card, and it says follow your heart. I love that card. So that means whatever this ending is, it's allowing you to follow your heart. And you may realize that this current situation that's ending, you weren't really able to follow your heart. And again, of course, we all have that message about being able to shine our light. Maybe your light was dimmed in this situation here, and now you're letting go of it so that you can follow your heart. So what does the unicorn say here? The unicorn card says exercise. Yeah, I've gotten a lot about exercise. Come on, focus there, buddy. My camera's not focusing. I was going to try to show you those words, but it's pretty obvious. Run, walk, do things to exercise. But Tauruses, I know you like to get in your little cozy corner, and when things end, you want to do the things that make you feel good. Comfort food, comfort blanket, comfort things. Just make sure you're getting out there and grounding yourself, moving that physical body. We don't want any stuck energy with this full moon. So maybe you can go ahead and plan to do something active during this full moon, especially leading up to it, because like I said, we're going to have that conjunction on June 8th with Mercury still in Jupiter, still in Gemini, and then Jupiter moves into Cancer on the 9th, and then that's all going to be leading up to this full moon where you might realize, I got to get out of here. I'm even seeing like this is you like literally like walking away from something, and that's the exercise. So I'd love to hear how you all are doing. Hello, April. Good to see you here in the chat. I'd love to hear how you all do with this full moon, all 12 signs. All right, for the Geminis, what do we have for the Geminis for this full moon? Well, first of all, it's happening in your 7th house of long-term relationships, right? Because it's opposing your sign, your sun sign, or whether it's your rising or whatever. It's from a solar chart perspective, it's in your house of marriage, long-term contracts, long-term partnerships, right? So let's see what's coming up for the Geminis. 5 of Earth, lack, worry, assistance. Yeah, so something that you've been worrying about when it comes to maybe your marriage or some type of long-term contract, maybe it could have to do with work. I think you're going to realize that the worry is not, there's going to be some kind of aha moment for Geminis where you realize the worrying is what's holding you back. Again, we all had that ego card there. So do some extra journaling during this time, Geminis, and remember that we have to go higher with this 5 of Earth card. So in most here, I'll show the close-up so you can see it on the camera. In most 5 of Pentacle or 5 of Earth cards, the person is at least semi-looking up. And what they usually see up there is spiritual guidance. So when you start to feel that fear come in, Geminis, go higher. Ask your spiritual team for guidance, right? And then the Sedona card for you is the Coyote. Love it. And it says crazy. Was that say crazy wisdom? Interesting. Yeah. So it could be that just sometimes something that seems really out there has a lot of wisdom to it. So I feel like you might be second guessing your ability to share your wisdom and like, I want to get out there in a bigger way as an intuitive or as a healer or with my writing or with my movie making, but people are going to think I'm crazy, but what you're actually bringing to the world is very wise. So I really like that because what's coming up for your unicorn card here? Family and culture. Learn more about your history. Oh, I like that a lot too. Yeah, I think, some of you may be bringing some of your ancestry to light, teaching about it, talking about it. I feel like some of you have spiritual gifts that have been passed down through family ties. And if you were to spend a little time studying it around this full moon, then you're going to see all the wisdom in it. Whereas like maybe as a kid, people were like, oh, your great-grandmother was crazy, but really she was a highly psychic intuitive and had all these ceremonies she did that always brought healing. Like there are things coming up for Geminis that I want you to pay attention to where you can really embrace that. And that's why it's, again, going higher for the Geminis. All right. All right, moving on to the Cancers. Cancers, for this full moon, it's happening in your 6th house of daily work and routine, pets, large animals like horses and livestock, health, right? Day-to-day activities. Let's see what's going on for Cancers. So we have the 8 of Air. Self-doubt, confusion, free will. So another example of feeling trapped. So in this picture, you see there is this huge expansion of space behind this person, but this person is just sitting there staring at the icicles and the swords going, I can't get around. I can't get around. And I feel like what this is saying for Cancers is you can turn around and go in a new direction. You have the free will to do that. It's up to you. There is another way around this dilemma, another way through. Okay, so whatever challenges arise for you now during the full moon and shortly after, first ask yourself, is there another way through? Let's see what the Sedona card's bringing up for you. Sugarloaf, allow love. Allow love. All right, I'm going to call Cancers out here because I'm a Cancer sun sign. We tend to go into our shell when we feel trapped, right? We tend to go hide in our corner and say, I need some time alone. You're being asked to allow love during this full moon, okay? So anything that's making you feel stuck or trapped, you want to allow the love. And where that love comes from, you need to open up to it. It might not be from the place you expect. Let's see what the Unicorn card says here. Teamwork. Work with others to make the situation come about. So like I said, allow that love. You may have a best friend or a family member that would love to support you on your journey, that would love to help you find a way through this. Maybe there's somebody who would love to collaborate with you to help you move through something. Since this isn't your 6th house of daily routine, it could simply be you're allowing somebody to take care of your kids so you can spend more time on a creative project, or you're allowing somebody to work with you through some relationship challenges that are happening on a day-to-day level with your work or anything like that. So definitely focus on teamwork and allowing that love, Cancers. All right. Now we have the Leos. Leos, this is happening in your 5th house. And that's really positive because Leo rules the 5th house. And it's about romantic partners, creativity, children, giving birth to something. So this is really positive for the Leos already. Let's see what's coming up for you guys. We've got the Page of Earth. Studious, prepared, cheerful. You're preparing for something. For Leos, I feel like somebody new is coming into your life during this season. And, you're preparing for this. Like somehow you know that this new opportunity to invest in yourself, invest in your children, invest in your family is coming through. Some of you are quite literally having children or grandchildren around this full moon. Again, the energy extends up through to the next new moon that we'll have in Cancer, right? So just be prepared for things to change quite drastically, but stay cheerful about it because it's all happening for you. So let's see what's coming up for the card here. Oh, I love this. Did you guys get this with Chris Rex reading we did last week? Juniper, stand strong. So this is the Sedona card here. Yeah, with these new opportunities coming in, you're being asked to really stay strong in your ability to be organized, prepared, studious. I am actually getting that for some of you, there's a new opportunity for you to just get really sharp in your skills, like really good with your resources. Let's see what the Unicorn card is here. Finish what you've started. Yep. Finish what you've started. There's a creative project that, it's been difficult to put out there, to get out there. But they're asking you to finish. Oh, sorry. They're asking you to finish what you started before you start something new. Please go listen to the next 3 months video that I did with Chris Reck last week because I'm almost positive, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm almost positive this is basically what we got for Leos last week for the next 3 months. For Leos, that there's something you need to finish first, right? And you need to stand strong. There are new things coming in for you. But first, you got to finish what you've started so that you can take advantage of these opportunities coming in. So, full moons bring endings. Can you spend some time right now and over the next couple weeks wrapping up some kind of creative project since this is in your 5th house, right? And you rule the 5th house. Have you been working on a book that you keep putting off finishing? Have you been working on a project in your home, right? Is there something with a romantic partner that you've always wanted to do that you keep starting and stopping? So definitely keep that in mind for the Leos. I feel like if you will finish something that you've started, you're going to see things open up for you in a big way. All right. Oh, good, Janie. I'm glad you like these cards. Yeah, they're fun. Okay, so let's move on to the Virgos. Virgos, this full moon is happening in your 4th house, right? So what were we talking about at the very beginning of this video? Jupiter will also be moving into Cancer, which rules the 4th house. The moon rules the 4th house. So just really think about real estate, home and family, emotional security. What are the things that help you feel secure? Things probably around your mother, grandmother, things like that. Let's look to see what the cards are for Virgos. Moving my crystals there. All right, for the Virgos, we have Queen of Air. Brilliant, experienced, humorous. Okay, Virgos, some of you are out there starting new podcasts, starting new YouTube channels, starting new projects. You are mastering your communication with this full moon. But again, you need to feel emotionally secure while you are doing this. The example I always give is when I first started offering angel readings to people, I didn't just go out to a local, music event and put up a stand and just start offering readings, right? I found people who were already open to this type of work through groups, through spiritual communities, through classes to offer readings until I became really confident sharing my work in a more public way, right? So what do we have for the Sedona card here? Oh, you guys got the alien card this time. I think it was Pisces that got it last time. I don't remember. Visitor, tourist, or alien. Yeah, I mean, Virgos, I feel like what this is actually saying is you might feel like you're the alien or the visitor in your own home sometimes, right? It could be that some of you are actually getting some visitations. So pay attention to your dreams, pay attention to signs and symbols, since this is happening in your 4th house, but you don't want to feel like an alien in your own home. And this could be where you feel at home with your work too, okay? But because it is 4th house, it could mean that you're realizing it's time to go ahead and move. So let's see what we're getting for the unicorn card. It's okay to be different. Yep. Okay. I just got like giggly angel bumps all down my back. So it's okay to be different, right? Do you feel like an alien at work? Do you feel like an alien in your own home or in your social networks? It's okay, Virgos. This is what we need right now. This is what we need from you. We need you to express it in this master way, okay? This is super exciting because I feel like what you're wanting is to be surrounded by more people who are like-minded, but right now you don't feel that way. You want more people who share your love for communication about the work you're doing. So open up to that. I think what you're going to have to do is let go of some things in your life with this full moon so that you can make room for people, places, and things that help you feel emotionally secure. But just remember, it's okay to feel different. All right. That's awesome for the Virgos. So much that we're all going to be releasing. Again, please listen to all 12 signs and see where it's resonating in your chart because it's all affecting all of us in so many ways. All righty. Oh, congrats, Linda. That'll be fun. All right. So for the Libras, let me get your timestamp here. Oh, I did get it. Okay. Yeah, for the Libras, this full moon is happening in your 3rd house. So your 3rd house is short distance travel, siblings, aunts, uncles, communication, publishing, like podcasts, things like that. You have inspirational, charismatic, and innovative. King of Fire. What a great energy for the Libras for this full moon. So you have been going through a lot of big changes, especially with your career, with your legacy, what you're leaving behind. And you are on fire, Libras. You are really in it now. And it's time to really allow this transformation and really follow your inspiration. Let's see what's coming up for the Sedona card here. Prickly Pear. Prickly pear, it says diversity. Okay, so just like the Virgos, it's like it's okay to be different. Yeah, you're bringing diversity to a situation, to a plan, to a group of people, and you're doing it through your inspirations. You're basically giving others permission to follow their inspirations. You're being a leader in this way. You are a cardinal sign, Libras. So I feel like a lot of you are going to be writing, publishing, speaking, traveling, doing things that allow others to be inspired by you. Let's see what this unicorn card is. Practice. Yeah, practice. All right. So some of you are starting a podcast, YouTube channel. You are Maybe you're starting a local group where you're speaking about these things. Get out there and practice a lot around this full moon so that you can really step into your power, as this King of Fire card is asking you to do here. So anything that you've been on the fence about joining or doing, Libras, I had that message for you yesterday in my community membership live. The Libras got for June, for all of June, that there's something you've been sitting on the fence with, and it's time to get off that fence and make a choice. So what comes to mind? Have you been thinking about signing up for that event, that spiritual retreat? Have you been thinking about getting a table at the local spiritual festival and offering your services, or anything? It doesn't even have to be spiritual, but wherever you're headed with your career. All right, let's move on to the Scorpios here. All right, for the Scorpios, this is happening in your second house. The second house is self-worth. It's your finances. It's money, right? So let's see what's going on for you guys up and during this full moon. We have Two of Fire, planning, partnering, progress. Ooh, I like that for you guys. Something creative here. Maybe you're going to be starting a business with somebody. I really like that. Or you're going to be partnering with your spiritual team and bringing in more abundance. You're going to finally find progress with something going on with work or with your finances. Let's see what the Sedona card says. The Sedona card says Bell Rock. Bell Rock, possibilities. Yeah, look at this. There's 2 wands here, right? So I think you're going to have more than one option for moving forward with your finances. And also because the second house is also your self-worth, like how you actually, do you feel worthy of these things? It could be that, it's like, do I feel worthy of spending this money? Do I feel worthy of asking people to pay me this money for this thing, right? So there's a lot of possibilities coming in for you. Let's see what this says. It says forgive. Yeah, Scorpios, I think there is still something that with involving another person, really and truly is what I'm getting, that it's holding you back on feeling your true self-worth. It's somebody may have made you feel less than. Again, we had that message with the whole dimming your light. Who's the first person that pops into your mind there? There is somebody better. There is somebody that will value you for who you are. But the first thing you have to do is forgive yourself for allowing yourself to be in a situation where somebody made you feel unworthy, and then focus on that self-worth. And that's going to bring in these new partnerships. It's going to bring in a higher self-worth. It's going to bring in better opportunities with your money. So I really like that for the Scorpios. This is going to take some deep reflection. Remember, Jupiter will be trining your sign because it's in a water sign and you're a water sign. So definitely keep that in mind as you're doing some reflecting with this full moon, wherever you have full moon in the chart, in your chart. All right, for Sagittarius, this full moon obviously is your full moon happening in your first house, the physical body, your identity, the way that you interact with the world. It's really, really powerful. This is your full moon. So, I've been getting so much for you guys about making sure you're not holding yourself back, that you're allowing yourself to grow. Let's see what's coming up for this full moon for you. We have the investment, assessment, patience. It's the 7 of Earth card, which is also the 7 of Pentacles. Yeah, so I know, Sagittarius, you want to go in a new direction, but you feel like there's too many things that you have to do to get there. Plant one pentacle at a time and just have patience with it. And I know you guys tend to soar through life, getting everything done, running around, doing all these different things. But there is an investment you've already made that needs more time. So just do one thing at a time to help it continue to grow. Maybe the seeds are already planted, but they just need nurturing. Let's see what's coming up for the Sedona card for Sagittarius. Thunder Mountain. It says, let it bounce off. Wow. Let it bounce off. That's interesting because it's like making you think of lightning too. Yeah, something you're just going to have to let it bounce off. I'm rubber, you're glue. What bounces off of me sticks to you. Not that we want to make anything stick to anybody, but I'm feeling something. It's like, yeah, there's something that is still bugging you, and you want to let it just bounce off of you. Let's see what the unicorn card says to get a little more clarification here. Share. When you share, everyone feels happier. Aw, I love that. Well, I actually feel like this is you sharing your heart. This is not like actually, I mean, granted, you have the Seven of Pentacles here, so maybe there is something you're wanting to share with a loved one or a family member, like actually share your resources. That could be a thing there. But it could also be that you just need to share your heart with somebody. I think that maybe there's something you still haven't shared with a close friend or family member. And it's almost like you're afraid of the thunder it's going to create. But it's, you're Sag, you're like lightning. You're like, you're the power there. It's important to try to let things go that are not really part of your energy anymore. Trust that you're invested wisely, and then share your heart and mind about these things. And I think that's what's probably going to come up for you guys, especially since you are really going to be affected by the Mercury Gemini, Jupiter and Gemini conjunction on June 8th. I feel like you're going to end up, something's going to come out. Like you're going to have to say something, like there's no holding your back. It's like, you're going to blurt it out. Like you've been waiting to say it to this person and it's going to come out. So, so just think about that. Think about what you want to say. And then I think that will help you be prepared for whatever this full moon's going to reveal. All right. Moving on here. Heather, Petty Betty phrases. Yeah, I love them too. Heather said we had the most random thunder and lightning storm yesterday. Whoa, that's your Sag energy. You got the perfect card for that. I love it. I love how you say Petty Betty too. That cracks me up. All right. Let's see. Capricorns. Where are you? Capricorn. There you are. For Capricorns, this is happening in your 12th house, right? Which is the subconscious. This is the dream time. It's hidden enemies. It's prisons and institutions and hospitals. We don't need to go there with all that because we're staying high vibe. But it is the subconscious, right? And it's trining Neptune and Saturn in Aries, right? So you may actually have some amazing downloads with this full moon and leading up to it. I want you to keep your journal by your bed. Everybody should be doing this anyways. This goes for all of you. Please pay attention to your dreams during this time. Please pay attention to any signs, synchronicities you're getting. I would even encourage you to intentionally go into a transformational state with meditation, astral travel. Maybe you can book a hypnotherapy session. Maybe you can go be in one of those floating like deprivation tanks. You know what I'm talking about? Like the salt tanks. Something really cool could come through for you. However, it also does involve Neptune, right? Which can be illusion. So we're not necessarily taking action on it, but because it is trining that, and I feel like all of us need to be paying attention to this. Like it feels like some of us might even like have contact from some kind of spiritual being, right? And this could come through a dream. It could be a passed away loved one. But if you're somebody who does intentionally work with the angels, you might get a really intense encounter there with this energy of the 12th house. So I want you to pay attention to that. All of you, look to see where you have Capricorn in your chart and look to see where you have Neptune. But also remember that this is a really powerful energy here. So let's see what we have. Did I pull the card? Got totally stuck in that conversation about the 12th house and didn't pull your cards. Sorry, Capricorns. Yeah, I'm already feeling the Neptune illusion, right? The Neptune square. All right, so what do we have for Capricorns for the full moon? 10 of fire. Overworked, stressed, unbalanced. Yeah, I think Capricorns are going to have a realization with this full moon of something they need to set down. They need to put down. They need to hit the pause button on. Maybe you've been under the illusion that you have to carry this burden, but I've actually been getting this card a lot for Capricorns. I pay more attention just because it is my rising. It's easier for me to remember. You know, what I love that Chris Rex says is this is a card of carrying other people's burdens, right? So you're burdening yourself with somebody else's job. You're doing, it's like, it's not your job. So there's something you need to put down. It could be that it's not your job to make somebody else feel better. It could be that it's not your job to win over your enemies, right? It's a house of hidden enemies. There could be somebody out there who just doesn't understand the work you're doing. It's just not your job to take on whatever they're dealing with, right, in their life. So let's see what's coming up for the Sedona card here. Mingus Mountains. It says indirect source. Yeah, I really like this card because, again, I think this is validating that this is happening in your 12th house. Indirect source, that means you're getting this information through some other realm, probably. You might be, doing some astro travel in your dreams. You might have beings connecting with you throughout the day, guiding you. I would encourage you, all of you, throughout this energy, starting now, really, and leading up to the new moon, to just ask your team to guide you with loud and clear signs and try to be really open for adventure. Because remember, Jupiter is about adventure. So asking your team, hey, should I take a different way to work today? Which way should I go? Look for signs and symbols. Let's see what there's the card. You are gifted there. The beautiful unicorn card there. I love that for Capricorns. Yeah, and I mean, Capricorns, you've had to really step into your gifts after Pluto left your sign and embrace them in a new way. But it is going to take that kind of indirect way of doing it. It's like Capricorns tend to be very direct. That's why we get a reputation of being cold, because we're like, the shortest distance is between A and B is a straight line. So just do it that way, right? And Chris Reck and I were joking about that last week about Capricorns always wanting the user manual, but it's an indirect source. So you're actually going to be going about things differently. You're going to be getting information differently. And there's a different way to put down these burdens and bring in what you want. I think all of us need to make sure we have plenty of downtime around this full moon where we can do this reflection and say, where in my life am I carrying somebody else's burdens? Is there a way for me to put this down? It could be something that you put on yourself and you realize you've just been like following societal's conditioning, right? Like, this is what you should do as a mom. This is what you should do as a spouse. This is what you should do as a good employee or self-employed person. Where can you put something down? That goes for all of us. All right, moving on to, hey, Paul, good to see you. Haven't seen you in a while. Glad you're here from Pennsylvania. A big black bear loose in the neighborhood right now. Oh my gosh. Okay, sending protective energy to you guys, but you might want to look up the bear symbolism there too. All right, let's see. What do we have for Aquas? Putting the timestamp here. Aquas, you have fascinated me so much this year, the way things have played out for you. This full moon is happening in your 11th house of social groups and networks, right? The people you surround yourself with. You've got some big changes. You've had some big changes. You have some big changes coming. A lot of you have gotten married or engaged, or you're considering getting married. Some of you have moved. Some of you are moving. I think some of you are moving in a new direction with your work. I'm getting a lot of you have just literally, you're changing where you work so that the people you surround you with are different. So let's see what we have here. We have the Wheel card. Luck, progress, change. We've gotten the Wheel for you a lot. By the way, thank you, Casglow, for putting that in the comments. I appreciate that. That helps me. So luck, progress, and change. This Wheel card has come up for you guys a lot, Aquas, and I've gotten a lot about change in relationships. This is in your 11th house, so I feel like it's also the people that you surround yourself with, your social networks. You're hanging out with different people. You're associating with different people online. You're presenting yourself in a different way. And you are probably leaving behind a group of people at some point. And I really feel that maybe this full moon is actually helping you move away from a group of people so that you can shine your light brighter, so that you can do it in your way, in a bigger way, and feel a lot more authentic in the work you're doing. So let's see what your Sedona card is. Desert breeze and force. desert, breeze, and force. Yeah, I think, what I love about this card coming up with the wheel card here is that you don't really have a choice. The wheel card in most decks shows water, right? The water is churning the wheel. And the force of the water, the flow, right? It's forcing that wheel. You don't have a choice for this transformation. I feel like this move you're making, these changes you're making, Aquas, you don't really have a choice. This is the winds of change forcing it, right? Let's see what your unicorn card is here. Your unicorn card is hello and goodbye. See? Can you get more straightforward than this, Aquas? It's literally saying, you're saying hello to something new, goodbye to something old with this full moon. All right? You're being grateful for the time you've had there, but the wheel is moving you on. You're pretty much being forced to do it by the winds of change, by divine flow. And so embrace it, right? Hello and goodbye. Guys, what is going on with you, Aquas? You have to tell me. Like, it's just, you've probably been the most of all the signs this year where this message just has been so consistent, so consistent, so consistent. And I love hearing the validation through all of you guys. All right, let's see what's going on for the Pisces. Switch over here. Pisces. Grab your timestamp here. Pisces, this full moon is happening in your 10th house of career, legacy, public reputation, what you leave behind, right? What you're known for. So this is super positive stuff, especially with Jupiter trining you, your water sign there. I love this. All right, for Pisces, and we're going to get your bonus messages for everybody at the end. Oops, I don't take reversals, by the way. Chariot, a Cancer card. The Chariot, willpower, victory, recognition. Look at that. Pisces, you're going to finally start to see things go in your direction, go the way you want them to go. You're going to be getting recognized for your gifts in a bigger way. This is so exciting. I love this, especially since the moon rules Cancer. This is a Cancer card, and Jupiter is in Cancer. So this is so exciting. You're going to have to let me know what happens with this full moon. Let's see what your Sedona card is. Javelina and choice, another choice card here. Yeah, there is going to be a choice to make with this full moon. I mean, it's not necessarily going to be easy. You're probably going to have to decide to move ahead with something. Probably the thing you're moving ahead with is ending something, right? You might be ending a job, ending a project, ending a relationship, ending the fact that you're unwilling to bend, right? Like, I think I was getting a lot for Pisces starting from the beginning of the year lately too, just like Aqua's about relationships. But for Pisces, I was getting that if you would start to get out there more, like travel. I mean, these could be day trips, like to parts of town that you don't normally go to. You're going to be meeting new people. That's really going to affect your career. And you have a choice to make about that. Do you want to stay at home and be a recluse and keep doing the same thing over again? Or are you ready to get out there in a bigger way, meet new people, and do new things? And the guidance here is to put an end to all that solitary time, Pisces, and get out there in a bigger way. And then for the unicorns, I have relax, everything's okay. So yeah, also this doesn't have to be all at once. You don't have to like go out there and start making 100 new friends at once, or start going on a new date with somebody every single night, right? This is not something that has to happen overnight. But I feel like what this full moon is sharing for Pisces is you're moving away from an old way of living, an old way of doing things. And you have to make a choice about that. And it may be a choice in career. Like maybe you've always put work over relationships, or you've always put relationships over work. And you're having to make a choice about that, and everything will be okay. You will be able to bring balance to that. So I'd love to hear if you know what this choice is, but if you don't know what it is, it's probably going to be revealed to you before the end of this full moon. So let's get to your bonus messages here. I'm going to switch. I was showing you your cards, wasn't I? I'm sorry. I've got a lot of things happen around the house today, and I'm feeling a little like I'm forgetting things here. All right. Bonus messages. We are at 113. Okay. Wow, we're a little long today, but that's okay. I love hanging out with you guys. Oh, good, Deborah. I'm glad it's on target for you. Linda's saying that's the truth. What's the truth? I didn't see your comment come in. Infinitely Blessed says, my sun is in Cancer and in my 12th house of Pisces. Wow. So this is really, you're going to feel this too, but in a really positive way. A really positive way. So this is what I do for my mini readings. Have you guys seen the shorts I've been doing lately? Those are so fun to do. And thank you to all of you who watch them. And if these messages are resonating with you, I appreciate if you hit a like and subscribe if you haven't. Share this video with anybody you think it would resonate. Don't forget you can sign up for my free newsletter at devonduerr.com to get my free ebook, Is It a Sign? And stay notified about new classes and events coming up. So this is the mini reading I do that I do every day for myself. And I like to do in those, mini readings. Oh, it was a premonition. Okay, cool. Yeah. And we're going to be seeing some cool stuff with this full moon. All right, so this is the present, near future, future in 2 actions. All right, here we go. First card is 10 of Earth. Right now, very happy family life, financial security, finding magic in the little things. All right, because this full moon is so involved with the 4th house, with Jupiter being there, you're going to want to definitely focus on your surroundings. And I mean, I can't even say how much from the very beginning of this video, where do you feel at home, right? And this card has to do with your material resources. So focus on life's little luxuries. What are some little things you could do that make you feel safe and at home? And if you're, feeling like you have to spend money to do something that makes you uncomfortable, then you don't feel at home doing it, right? And surrounding yourself with your loved ones during this full moon can be really beneficial as well, because it is about home and family with Jupiter there in Cancer. All right. So coming up in the near future, of course, we'll put this all together. Near future, we have the King of Earth. Ooh, I love that. Generous, professional, responsible, practical. It says a successful time, confidently accept opportunities you're offered, and the Midas touch. So that's really, really positive too, you guys. That's going to be the near future. So anytime between now and the new full moon and after the full moon, you're going to see new opportunities coming in. I am getting, for most of us, this will be after the full moon, because there will be some type of ending, some type of release that we are doing that is opening the door, creating the space for this new opportunity. So whatever is ending for you between now and the new moon in Cancer, it's creating room for these new abundant opportunities. This is so, so positive. And June is considered to be one of the best months in the year based on the transits, especially after everything we went through up through May. So trust these endings, embrace this change, because coming up in the future, we have the Magician card. Look at that. Archangel Raziel, you are ready. You have the resources, the ability to manifest them. Life is magical. And this is the future card here. So since we have at the present, in the present energy, enjoying life's little luxuries, surrounding yourself with friends and family in the home, going where you feel at home, whatever these endings are, you may need to retreat to a place where you feel secure. This is also about feeling financially secure, right? As in securing your material resources, but you're still going to have to let go of something if you want to bring in these new opportunities. And then you're going to see how magical life really is. And I feel like it's going to help you just really tap into that inner magician. Whenever I see this card, it's a reminder that you can transform things. Remember, we have that feeling, that energy in the Celtic cross. If you're joining us late, go back and check out the Celtic cross at the beginning, where there's constant reminders about watching out for that illusion that you're trapped. That's your ego telling you, I'm stuck in this job, I'm stuck in this relationship, I'm stuck in this house, I'm stuck in this, way of living. There is a way out, right? There is a way out, but we have to transform the energy. We have to focus on what we want. So such a powerful thing to do during this, starting now and through the end of the full moon. Like we said earlier, it's going to be daydreaming, paying attention to your dreams, and really getting clear on the things that are too burdensome. Let those things go, right? Put down a wand. All right, let's see what our 2 actions to take are, and we'll pull it all together. Look at this. Queen of Air. Independent, experienced, realistic, witty, objective decision making, clearing a way that no longer serves you, can't make this stuff up, and finding the humor in a situation. Yeah, so you're probably going to have to tell somebody something because of this full moon. You're going to have to say, hey, this isn't working for me. There isn't a good give and take. This is out of balance. It could be a colleague. It could be a friend. It could be a spouse, a child, a parent, a neighbor. But Queen of Air communicates in a way that allows others to see that they're being practical. It's not an emotional knee-jerk reaction, right? And that's why I said at the very beginning when I was covering the astrology, something is going to be said or communicated to you, or you're going to communicate something with that Mercury, Jupiter conjunction in Gemini on the 8th, and you're going to see the culmination of that on the full moon. So because this is the action to take, at the time you're hearing these messages, what is the first thing that comes to mind that you need to speak up? You need to tell that colleague that thing. You need to tell, your sweetie that thing. Like, hey, we got to change this. I don't feel secure with this, right? Do it right now. If you can, in a grounded way. Write down the things you want to say first. Like have 3 points you want to make. That's what a Queen of Air will do. Okay, I'm going to have this conversation. It might be a little difficult. What are the 3 things I want to walk away knowing I said, right? I love you. This is what my heart wants. Let's find a way to work through this, whatever that is, right? All right, here's the second action card to take, and we'll pull it all together. Look at that. High Priestess. High Priestess. Archangel Haniel. It says, listen to your intuition, have patience, consider carefully what you want before acting. So yeah, it's combining these cards together. What they're really talking about is before you communicate this thing, definitely sit down and get clear on what you want to communicate and then wait for the right time. So this is where I'll say, angels, if it's in my highest interest to have this conversation, send me a loud and clear sign. Or I'll just pause before I pick up the phone to call somebody and I'll check in with my body. Does now feel like the right time? Is this in flow? A lot of times you'll get some signs and symbols that it's not meant to happen. And the way this has manifested for me in the past is I was getting ready to send an email that was kind of letting somebody know like, hey, I'm not going to be able to work on this project with you, or I'm not going to be able to continue this collaboration, or there was something that was like, oh, I'm going to have this conversation. Let me get this out there. And then my daughter would bust through the door needing my attention and me like, Mom, I need this. And I'd get pulled into something for 2 hours. I'd never get back to the email. And then the next day after sleeping on it, I would get more information like, oh, I also need to say this. If I don't say this, they won't see my side. So I would have an opportunity to rethink how I was going to communicate it. So definitely waiting for the right time to have this conversation is going to be important. But I do feel that all of you here listening now, there is going to be something that you are communicating or you are learning is being communicated to you that's going to cause you to have to let something go and have that conversation. But it's going to bring this transformation. And stand in your power right now. That's why I'm saying, if you're watching these messages now, go ahead and plan to have this conversation, but you don't have to have it until you feel the time is right. And remember that you might go ahead and decide to say something to somebody between now and especially the 8th where we have that conjunction, and then you don't hear about it till the full moon. Right? Somebody calls you up and goes, I cannot believe that you're telling me you're not going to do this anymore. All right. There's going to be emotional reactions. Just stand your ground. That's what we had in that Celtic cross. And one advice I'd love to give all of you is go take some screenshots of these cards, have them handy, and of course, as always, you can put them in your book of evidence, track the messages and signs, give your future self the gift of hindsight. You can use any journal you want, but make sure you're writing it down. This is so much fun to do with all of you. I thank you all for being here. I'll see you next time. Happy full moon. And remember, take time every day to connect with the angels.